If you love poker, your dream is to win the main event.
Everyone is trying to make their way down to the final table, and only one is going to be lucky enough to win the main event.
I could be considered one of the best in the world for a tournament. You know what I mean? That's kind of cool.
We're on day 7, but we're so close to the final 9, but yet so far away.
$10 million, the bracelet, world poker champion, the next poker ambassador, your name, a household name.
You start as an accountant, you end up as a world champion. You start out as maybe a financial advisor, you become a world champion. Lives do change.
It's cool to know that, you know what I mean? I could hang with the best. In anything, that's a great thing.
Everyone uses the expression one time in poker, but really, you only really want to use your one time here at the main event.
One time, please.
Texas Dollar Brunson, who wrote the book.
And there it is. Helmuth wins the championship. This is going to be the best day of Ryan Reese is the world champion.
Biggest day of my life.
Welcome to the 2014 World Series of Poker main event telecast presented by Gentleman Jack. Tonight is the night we find out who will play at the final table with a chance to win the $10 million first place prize. I'm Lon McCarran with Norman Chad and Kara Scott. A mix of emotions in the Amazon room as the final table lurks. Mark Newhouse might be the most relaxed person in the building.
I hate to brag, but since day 1 of the main event, I've told anyone and everyone that this guy just might make back-to-back November 9s.
Tom Serra Jr. has the moves of a veteran, though just a main event first-timer.
His philosophy is, I'll go with my read come hell or high water, and so far, it's been heaven for him.
And Dan Sindelar, the chip leader, whose golf game just might be as strong as his poker game.
Yeah, but he's never played a $10 million Nassau, has he? There's a lot more pressure here than trying to save par at the 17th hole.
Sindelar is followed closely by Jorrit van Holt and Martin Jacobson. Sarah, the first-timer, in 8th.
It feels like the United Nations, Lon, the top 6 spots represented by 6 different countries.
Mark Newhouse on thin ice in 14th.
Oh, he can still skate around, do a figure 8 here and there. Newhouse with 32 big blinds left.
Who's your father?
I've never met him in my entire life.
Good luck, everybody.
I think he's a Chargers fan. My hat.
Can you name a single Chargers player?
I can name a lot of them.
Oh, okay.
Rivers, Tolbert, Keenan Allen.
So you said you randomly picked the hat?
I didn't randomly pick the hat. I went to a game there last year.
2 tables of 8 remain. Brazilian Bruno Politano, queen 8.
Politano randomly picked this hoodie out of a Ross dress for less.
4th place overall, but the biggest stack at this table with a raise to $455,000. On the button, Max Sempt.
I haven't seen this man play a hand in 7 days.
$10 million to this year's champ to be awarded live on ESPN Tuesday. To the Charger fan, NFL fan, Felix Stevenson, ace-5 of diamonds.
Well, I hate to call out Felix. He named 3 Chargers, but one of them, Mike Tolbert, has been with the Carolina Panthers since 2012. So when Felix went to a game last year and got the Chargers hat, Tolbert wasn't even with the Chargers.
Stevenson in the small blind. And with the suited ace, he has some of the beige chips in hand. Those are the big ones. A re-raise to $1,125,000. Big blind Luis Velador folds. So back to Politano now.
According to the scouting report, Bruno likes to open pots, but if you come over the top of him, he doesn't like calling or re-raising with marginal hands. This is a marginal hand at best.
But he did just go back and recheck his cards. That's a sign of a big hand, I'm told.
Who told you that?
One of our producers said that's gospel. But look at this. Politano sticking around, more than sticking around, a 4-bet to $2,380,000.
I've got to get new scouts. It's that simple.
2.38.
So now Stevenson, who started the hand, just under $14 million.
Stevenson plays mostly pot limit Omaha online, but he's taken the no limit hold'em pretty well.
And it looks like Stevenson is sticking around as well. And there is a 5-bet Norman to $3,635,000.
Wow, that's like the old Chargers. Dan Fouts just throwing bombs on first down in the first quarter. And 5-bet, as you said. If I were Politano, I would have snap folded my hand twice by now.
Yep, it's that kind of moment here in the Amazon room.
Well, I don't know if this is Hollywooding to save some face, or if Bruno can possibly have one more bluffing gear in him.
Neither of these guys willing to give up. Politano, the original raiser.
Oh, wow.
Oh, reaching for chips.
Say it ain't so, Lon.
6-bet to $5,755,000 back at you, Felix. And that will win the pot. That was all in or fold for Stevenson, and Politano takes it.
Bruno Politano takes the chip lead with that brazen 6-bet.
Wow, gutsy maneuvering from the Brazilian. And his rail goes nuts. Stevenson left with 50 big blinds, but that one hurt. So a surreal experience here in Vegas for Bruno Politano, especially given his full-time job back in Brazil.
I learned poker 11 years ago. It's not my profession because I have a store. I play poker when I'm not working. This is the Correcia. In store we sell bags, purses, belts, shoes, everything women like, products we sell. It's Brazilian poker family. It's a big community. Michael, when one Brazilian is playing something, tennis, ping pong, doesn't matter. Everybody is screaming, everybody is supporting him.
My Scooby-Doo's coming.
It's a big community, poker in Brazil, big community. I'm feeling prepared. I win this bracelet for Brazil.
Politano trying to become the first Brazilian ever to make it to the main event final table.
When the World Series of Poker started in the early 1970s, the international players came from Texas. Now, as poker's expansion continues, they come from all over the world. This year is no exception, with 9 of the 16 remaining players from outside the U.S. This American game truly has no borders.
I marvel at the universality of this game, its growing multinational appeal. And from around the globe, each player brings something special to the table. Van Hoof's smile, Jacobson's focus, Politano's crowd, Larabi's innocence, Velador's experience, Stevenson's good nature. But frankly, all of that pales in comparison to Billy Pappas's foosball wizardry. Foosball. Now there's an American sport.
No Brazilian foosball champs as far as I can tell, but I'm sure the passion would run deep and loud should they ever field a winner. Felix Stevenson on the button with ace-queen of spades.
By the way, I got a chance to go to the Norwegian Poker Championships this year and found out that in Norway, ace-queen is called the waffle hand because they say if you play it too hard, you'll be eating waffles.
22-year-old Andoni Larabi from Spain in the big blind calls with queen 5 off.
In Spain, I believe queen 5 is called the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hand because you will lose with it.
Right, heads up. The flop 5 ace 7. Bottom pair for Larabi, top pair for Stevenson. Larabi checks.
Larabi and Stevenson are so young. This is almost a Little League World Series.
Stevenson reaching for chips. Just a continuation bet, or does he have something? Well, same bet, 425, less than half the pot.
Stevenson tempted Larabi with that small pre-flop raise, and the temptation is hurting Larabi.
Yep, with bottom pair, Larabi makes the call. Turn card now. The queen of clubs, 2 pair for each, but Stevenson with the ace queen, a third club as you see out there. Larabi checked. Stevenson with top 2. Again, less than half the pot, 850.
The ace queen here usually would lose to a flush because the ace queen always finds a way to lose. If Larabi comes along here, I assume he'll hit a 5 on the river.
He does come along with his queens and 5s. Stevenson still with a hammerlock on this hand. No 5. Tray of diamonds on the river. And a check once again from Larabi.
Stevenson very comfortable with top 2 here. See, this is easier than pot limit Omaha.
How much this time? Again, less than half the pot. $1,450,000.
Larabi Bleeding chips here, one check call at a time.
Larabe with a quick call and sees that he is second best with his 2-pair. Stevenson goes to Spain to start rebuilding his stack and moves up to 5th place with some 4 and 8.
Always nice when you get it back in the very next hand.
That's very close to even.
Felix Stevenson back on track after falling for Politano's impressive bluff. The 2014 World Series of Poker is presented by Gentleman Jack Tennessee Whiskey, the Order of Gentlemen. And in part by the WSOP social game on Facebook and mobile. Try our new high roller tables today. Welcome back to the World Series of Poker main event telecast presented by Gentleman Jack. Years ago, we talked about how the game was getting younger and more international. It's never been more true than this year. The average age of the players remaining just 30 years old. There are 9 international competitors of the remaining 16. Dutchman Jorrit van Hoof opened for 450. Swede Martin Jacobson with ace-king off.
Jacobson went to culinary school, which somehow led him to poker. We need more chefs, not more sit-and-go savants.
Jacobson just calls with ace-king. Now Dan Sindelar with ace-queen.
By the way, I'm leading a movement in America to ban ace-queen as a starting hand. The way it would work, Lon, if you're dealt ace-queen, you simply turn it over, they give you 2 new cards.
I like that. A re-raise, though, with ace-queen for Sindelar to $1,575,000. Eddie Sabat folds. Billy Pappas, the foosball king, folds. Oscar Kemps follows suit. Christopher Graves folds his big blind, back now to Van Hoof, and he folds.
Jacobson looks like the kid I used to cheat off of in 11th grade biology.
Most people take biology in 9th grade now.
Good for you.
With the bigger ace, Jacobson makes the call.
Jacobson playing ace-king deceptively out of position against a good player in big stack.
4, Jack, deuce, ace-king still better than ace-queen.
Jacobson, one of the most accomplished players left in the field. He has 4 World Series final tables.
He checks it to Sindelar. Both miss the flop. Sindelar's going to bet it $1,250,000. Jacobson. 5 beige chips is a call.
Well, he's got the right idea, but if he can call there, you can raise there. See what Mr. Continuation Bet is made of.
Turn card 6 of spades. Ace-king still in the lead. Ace-king checks.
What is Mr. Continuation Bet made of?
Well, looking at his chips. Sindelar says $3,800,000.
Now it's getting hard to call with ace-king. Sindelar keeps firing.
Jacobson looks down at a board that he has no piece of. And he gives it up, and Sindelar will take the pot. And for your peace of mind, Norman, ace-queen didn't win that hand. Dan Sindelar did. Sindelar, the chip leader once again in the main event. He is not the most outspoken at the table, but he has a pretty well-defined plan for main event success.
I'm just taking it kind of one hand at a time. Just trying to keep the pot small, just playing small ball poker. Not really trying to go for stacks right now. Just kind of weeding through, keep going up the pay stages.
Small ball has produced a big stack. He began days 5 and 6 with more than twice the chip average, and now is the chip leader on day 7.
We'll keep it here. Action on Van Hoof in the cutoff seat. Ace-8 of hearts.
Another Magic the Gathering product. See, that makes sense. Magic to poker. Culinary school to poker? No.
Good point. Van Hoof raised to 525 in the big blind. Eddie Sabat, the LA poker pro, with Jack-10 of hearts.
He used to keep quarters in a can as a teen. His brother won $30 in quarters from him while teaching Eddie how to play poker. But Eddie got better, started beating his brother, and eventually his brother stopped playing him and became a surgeon.
Defending his big blind, Sabat makes the call for 285 more. We'll go heads up with one of the bigger stacks in the room. The flop, 9 Jack, 5 Sabat with top pair. A check.
Van Hoof likes to eat his shirt when he's in a pot. If a hand takes a long time, he changes afterward.
Turn card, 7 of hearts. Sabat with a straight flush draw, though we know he can't make at a 2-way straight draw and an ace-high flush draw for Van Hoof.
Yeah, big card for Eddie there. Whatever quarters he's got in the can, he wants to start putting into the pot.
600,000 is the bet from Sabat.
And as you mentioned, that was a big card for Van Hoof as well.
Tense times for friends and family on the rail. Melissa Costello is Eddie's girlfriend, watching closely. Van Hoof with the call. River card is the 4 of hearts. Eddie Sabat comes up with a jack-high flush, but an ace-high flush for Van Hoof.
That is one unfriendly card for Eddie Sabat, disguised as a friend.
And Sabat, of course, needs chips, so he puts them in the pot, hoping they're going to come back. But I'm sorry, Eddie, $1,150,000.
Van Hoof has the nuts, but he can't let go of his hoodie with his left hand. Oh, there he goes. How much will he raise, Lon?
Well, you look back at his cards. That's a big hand. Maybe everything Eddie has.
All in.
There it is.
Wow, almost.
Well, Sabat began this hand with just under 30 big blinds. If he calls here, I can't believe he won't. They'll all be gone.
Everyone watching this hand on pins and needles.
Ace-6 of hearts or something?
Pretty spot-on read. Will Eddie trust that read and lay down a huge hand? His main event rests on it.
We've seen him call out an opponent's hand and make the losing call anyhow.
I call.
There it is.
Oh, no. Oh, he's got the nuts. I almost folded.
And that ends Sabat's main event.
I'm out. I almost folded. So close.
Eddie was ahead on the flop, ahead on the turn, makes his hand, and is busted.
16th place, earning almost $348,000 for the likable LA Pro. What a boon to Van Hoof's chip stack. He is now top dog in the kennel with nearly $27 million. 1 minute you think you've made your hand, and next you're walking around in circles wondering what on earth just happened.
All in.
Ace-6 of hearts or something? I call.
Oh, no. Oh, he's got the nuts. I almost folded.
Kara Scott is with this year's 16th place finisher.
Eddie, it's every poker player's dream to run deep here in this main event. So can you give us your impressions on coming into day 7 and playing through this?
I had a blast every day, and I really appreciate getting this far, and I learned a lot. I'm definitely a better player coming out of this, and next time that happens, I would have folded. That was my gut to fold the last hand.
Big picture, what does this kind of deep run here and the being on the feature table, what does that do for your career?
It's awesome. I enjoyed the experience, and it's just another place, another finish, and if Mark can do it again, maybe I can do it again.
Mark is Mark Newhouse at the featured table, under the gun, open for $500,000 with pocket deuces. Bruno Politano taking his turn with ace-queen.
I am leading a Just Say No to Ace-Queen symposium in Brazil in December. Sadly, that's too late for Bruno.
Here is the flop. Queen deuce, Jack Newhouse hits pay dirt in his set mining operations. Top pair, top kicker for Politano.
Again, I don't want to take anything away from how well Mark Newhouse is playing, Lon, but this is his main event in a nutshell. Bang! He'll outflop you, or he'll bink you on the turn of the river.
$600,000 from Newhouse, and now the top pair, top kicker is just a 7% hand for Bruno.
Yeah, and to Newhouse's credit, you never know when he has it.
There's a call from Bruno. Turn card, 9 of spades. Politano now drawing dead. Newhouse. Wondering how much can I get out of this Brazilian amateur. Making it cheap, $1,000,001.
Well, first of all here, Bruno has a good hand. Secondly, in this spot, Bruno might be quite suspicious of Mark's show of strength because Mark will posture a lot.
Politano not going anywhere, makes the call. River card. 4 of clubs, and really from Politano's perspective, not much to worry about out there.
Well, this is where that balancing your range business comes into play. Mark will bet with nothing. This time he's betting with something. By balancing his range, he always has you guessing.
Newhouse now. Lots of purples, a little more than half the pot, $2,750,000. Bruno calls with the queens. Very good news for Newhouse, who really needed a healthy pot about now.
It's hard to know when he has it.
Newhouse's brother, Daniel, hoping to witness some history tonight. Mark Newhouse with about $15.5 million into fourth place.
$2,750,000.
Politano takes the hit, drops a couple notches on the leaderboard. What could he do? Before that last hand, Newhouse was not in great position to make the November 9. Now he's back in contention for that $10 million first place prize.
By the way, one of those 9 international players left is an American, Luis Velador, who was born in Mexico.
It's like a clam bake on the Newhouse rail tonight.
Go, Mark! Go, Mark! Carlos Santana in the house for Mark Newhouse.
How's it first, Mark?
I don't even know these guys.
Where'd you meet him, buddy?
Huh?
You brought him from L.A.?
Say what? Oh, yeah.
Action on Politano under the gun, ace-10.
Let's talk about playing in Brazil for a second. Beautiful beaches, nice-looking population, amazing food. So I'll choose a pursuit that keeps me indoors and takes me out of the country for big events.
$510,000.
Politano still appears to be stinging from that last pot, a raise to $510,000. Bruno has given way to Newhouse as the table chip leader after that last hand we saw. Folded around to Craig McCorkle. British pro on the button, folds to Newhouse in the small blind. King 5 into the muck. Tom Serra Jr. in the big with 7 deuce of diamonds. Obviously, he didn't hear me.
And you have such a booming voice. Tom says he's selectively aggressive. Can't believe he's going to select this moment to be aggressive. Is there a 7 deuce bonus here like they used to have on high stakes poker?
Right. That's about 15% of his hard-earned stack with that raise to $1,840,000 from Serra.
Well, remember we told you earlier, Bruno likes to open pots, but usually doesn't like it when they push back at him.
Serra, the Ohio first-timer, Grand Mall caretaker, former dealer, gets the pot as Politano folds.
Wow. I think everyone at the table owes Tom Serra Jr. $500.
No doubt he's thinking, I hope this gets on TV for the home game buddies. How about that?
Bad start.
For that play with 7 deuce, Tom Serra Jr. earns tonight's right move. Brought to you by Gentleman Jack. Bruno Politano opened the pot, and in the big blind with just 7 deuce suited, Tom Serra Jr. re-raised and took it down. Hope he had a side bet somewhere. Time now for the conclusion of the prestigious Side Action Championship.
And it all comes down to this. 3 of our players playing for the biggest prize in Side Action Championship history, and Jean-Robert Ballan playing for whatever pride remains in his disappointing adult life. The dealer will spread a suit of cards face down and hide 1 card. Players will then try to guess which card is missing. Here we go.
King of Hearts, King of Hearts, King of Hearts, King of Hearts, King of Hearts.
I think I said it first.
Very, very close.
I said King.
You said
I heard King of Hearts here.
King.
Split second before. We will go to replay on that.
So close.
Instant replay? First baseball, now this?
Upon further review, Phil Locke said it first.
That would have locked up first place for me. Oh, my God.
And now, the all-important 26-card spread.
Eight of spades.
Wrong.
5 of Hearts.
Yes!
Yes!
Mike Manasso!
I'm alive! I'm alive!
Mike the Mouth and Cherry Bomber for everything. Remember, you get 1 guess and that's it.
7 of Hearts.
Wrong.
Oh, he's wrong. There's a 7 of Hearts. Oh, my God. He's on a fair roll. Oh, I think I found it. 8 of Hearts.
8 of Hearts is finally correct. Phil Locke, first Side Action champion.
It's bright, it's splashy, it's tall, it's got a straight foot. This is powerful. I'm very happy. This is worth a lot to me.
Congratulations, 2014 Side Action champion. And now for the loser's reward. 1 time around the room in a pajama onesie. What's that going to feel like?
Wow. That's going to, we're going to get that over with real quickly. I'm about to get naked. I'll be out there. I'm going to put it on. How you guys doing? Good luck. Used to be me. I'm out.
I am so excited for Side Action Championship Toulon. I'm not even returning the tuxedo that I rented.
Back to the World Championship, secondary table, early position. Oscar Kemps, a Dutch amateur who loves to play in the main event, looks down at 10-9 of diamonds.
He runs an online lifestyle and fashion website.
This is his 5th main event, and he is shoving for just under 3.8 million.
15 big blinds.
William Tonking folds 7 tray. Von Hof gets rid of it now. Jacobson says no thanks. Dan Sindelar with ace-king, and he will make the call. Kemps all in and behind.
Almost got through, but the big stack and the big blind had a big hand.
Hold on, let me put my lucky bracelets. I'll put my lucky bracelets. Don't do it.
I got nothing to counter that.
You the ace of diamonds to counter that.
Lucky bracelet, 2 live cards.
Lucky bracelet, 2 live cards. Sounds like a plan.
Not going to stand, not going to sit, but he's all in. Here's the flop. 10, Jack, 9. Kemps flops, bottom 2 pair.
Take a jack.
Sindelar with a Broadway draw. Turn card, another 10. Kemps will double up with the full house. And the river card of Queens, Sindelar River Broadway. Lucky for Kemps, he turned the boat.
Kemps likes to splash around a lot. Now he can splash around a little with that double up.
Knocking on the door of 8 million, still short, but it's a nice step forward. Dan Sindelar takes the glancing blow. He remains in 2nd place overall. So the Dutchman Oscar Kemps can breathe a short sigh of relief now, doubling through Sindelar. Kemps doesn't play a lot of poker, but he makes the trip every year to the World Series.
He started playing poker after seeing Greg Raymer win it all in 2004, and 2012 was a good year for Kemps at the main event. He cashed, and he met the woman he fell in love with.
He's got a fashion store in Belgium and admits that's not his expertise.
Yeah, I'll give you a little funny story. I don't know anything about fashion. I like it, but I don't. They say I have no style. So they dress me and they go, "It's good that you're here. Please don't make any decisions about the colors or the prints. That's not you. We'll do that part." I mean, I like fashion, but I can't choose what to wear. I let my girlfriend pick it out for me, or they do it for me. Like, they're like, "Oh, roll up the sleeves because otherwise you'll look stupid," or something. Like, okay, thanks. I don't know that stuff.
I don't know anything about fashion either, but if these 3 guys were dressed like this as mannequins at Macy's, they'd go out of business within a month.
On the button, Kemps, king 5 of clubs. No action in front of him, so he's got to raise it up on the button. 525. Chris Graves folds his small blind. William Tonking in the big blind wakes up with queens, as we say in the booth.
Every day has been the same for Tonking at the main event. Get a bit short early on, then find a favorable spot or 2 to chip up and survive.
He's got some beige chips in hand. He's going to re-raise it to $1,275,000.
With king 5, I would fold here and make an appointment with Louis Vuitton. Kemps does like to play fast and loose, though.
Boy, we saw this type of raising war at the featured table. And there it is, a 4-bet to $2,100,000 from Kemps.
And this is one of those favorable spots Tonking keeps waiting on patiently.
All in.
And he re-raises. Kemps all in. And Kemps stood his ground as long as he could, but Tonking with the bigger stack and bigger hand will take it. That's a nice color on Oscar's girlfriend. You know, he didn't pick that one out. William Tonking quietly making it work, as Tim Gunn says on Project Runway. Yeah, I watch. The button raise has always been fashionable, but it doesn't work out for Kemps this time. Back to the drawing board. Welcome back to the World Series of Poker main event telecast presented by Gentleman Jack. Featured table, Mark Newhouse, under the gun, rags, raises, why not?
His hand range is almost as wide as the Grand Canyon.
Stevenson with queens.
He doesn't play a lot of live tournaments, so he says it always takes him a while to get in the zone. He's in the zone.
Just calls, says let's take it post-flop Newhouse, but Velador may have something to say about that with ace-king off.
He went to the gym this morning, then came back to his hotel room and fell asleep again. His son Luis Jr. came in and said, "You're playing on day 7 in 25 minutes. Wake up, old man."
What is it?
Velador does want to play higher. He's going to make it. $1,400,000. Larabe folds his small blind in the big Craig McCorkle. Queen 10 of diamonds.
28-year-old British pro. Finished 172nd at the 2012 main event. He has 11 World Series cashes. And this would be a bad time for McCorkle to be thinking about making a move.
He told us he's sleeping in this main event better than his friends are. They're all amped up, and he's calm in the zone. And he does get rid of the suited queen. Newhouse, the original raiser, folds. Now Stevenson with the queens.
As I was saying to Daniel Negreanu before knocking him out of the World Series 10K Stud 8 Championship this summer, en route to my 10th place finish, when you've got pocket queens, play them fast and furious.
Velador with ace-king. That can be played fast and furiously.
I'm all in.
Stevenson re-raises Luis all in.
Well, as I was saying to Mike Matasso before knocking him out of the World Series of Poker 10K Stud 8 Championship this summer, en route to my 10th place finish, ace-king's just a drawing hand. Think twice about it.
Very even stacks. Felix Stevenson has Luis barely covered.
Velador knows it's probably a race. Does he want a race for his main event life just short of the final table? I might fold here and wait for a better spot with my 40 big blinds.
And Velador does give up. The ace-king says not this time. So Stevenson's call shove works. Surprised we didn't see a flop there. Here are Phil Locke and Antonio Esfandiari with their take.
Wow, World Series of Poker, day 7. A lot on the line. You get the ace-king, but what's this? I've raised it, now I'm getting repop for huge? I think this is a time to say, okay, we're flipping huge.
And I agree. I think the only time that I'm ever going to fold ace-king pre-flop in a tournament is when I think that I'm up against aces or kings. And I think that in this particular situation, given the way the hand played and Felix's huge overraise, it's nearly impossible for him to have aces or kings. So even though I know I'm flipping, I got to take it because I have so much money out there and I want to put myself in a position to win the tournament.
To
Luis, on the other hand...
To his credit, he knows he's a good enough player that he can get those chips without even having hands here and there, so he doesn't feel like he wants to go into flip territory.
Right, Luis doesn't want to flip, and I do want to flip. And you're the world's greatest flipper.
I'm not results-wise, just passion-wise. I love doing it. I'm only batting 54%.
Sometimes you got to flip.
Yeah, you got to flip sometimes.
I stand corrected.
Folded to Velador, king 7 of hearts. And these cash game specialists love the suited cards, don't they? A raise to $500,000.
Everyone wants to flip all day, Lon. If there were a flipping drive-through, the line would be around the block.
No kidding. Tom Serra Jr. in the big blind with 2 9s.
This guy doesn't want to flip. This guy wants to play poker.
Sits with $13.6 million to start the hand. And he will make the call. And go heads up with Luis Velador. All right, here's the flop. Ace, 4, 5, all hearts. Velador scores the nut flush. Serra checks his 9s.
What I love about Luis, he plays all the games. He likes to say about hold'em, 2 cards, too boring.
Velador calmly looks down, bets $400,000 to Serra, who has a useless flush draw. And he'll come along.
Well, Tom might think his pair is good, plus he might think the flush draw is good.
7 of diamonds. Serra does not improve. He's drawing dead. He checks again.
Velador could slow down here if he thinks Serra might fire out on the river.
Chips in hand. $750,000 this time. And Tom is right there. He's persistent.
We've seen Serra make some quick calls drawing dead.
Luis knows he's got a good one on the hook here. River card, another small card. A check again from Serra.
By the way, Velador doesn't have the stone-cold nuts here, since Serra could have a deuce tray of hearts for a straight flush, but I think he'll take his chances.
I think you're right. Now Velador with his last chance. A lot of purples.
Call.
And a snap call for over $2.6 million. Serra thinks his 9s might be good, but then again, maybe not. A third of Serra's stack goes across the table to seat 8 and Velador.
How much? Nice hand.
When someone in a rolled-up plaid shirt bets the flop turn and river with 3 hearts on board, he always has it. Always.
Bellador didn't want to flip before, and now he's whole again, plus some. A lot to cheer about at this stage of the main event, especially if you're Luis Bellador. Welcome back. Before the break, a big misstep for the first-timer Tom Serra Jr. He called down Luis Bellador's flopped flush and lost a third of his stack. A look at the payouts. The current payout, nearly 442 grand. A spot at the final table is guaranteed over $730,000. Got 2 first-timers gunning for that final table. Serra Jr. on the left and foosball champ Billy Pappas on the right.
Today I haven't actually played that good. Yesterday I played really good. That was my best day, but just cards. That's what I attribute it to. In foosball, people say that I don't think I've ever seen you like not smiling. So I'm obviously I'm a pretty happy person. So hopefully that positive energy goes to the poker table. I was hoping to cash and then go to the next level, but we're playing for 10 million.
I finally made it out here for the main, you know. It's really exciting. I do have designs on surviving one hand, one level, one day at a time. My goal for the tournament is to continue on to day 5, and then on to day 6. And then what? We'll wrap play on day 7, and I plan on a nice relaxing break between day 7 and November. No, I feel good. I'm dug in, and I've had some big hands, and I think that I've played some of those big hands pretty well. And here we are. It continues. I mean, today is one day of play. I'm in control of the tick being that I am right now. I mean, I'm dug in, you know.
All right, attention main event players, please go back to your prior seat locations.
It's hard to put it into words right now. One day of play, you know, equates to, you know, being a November Niner. Pretty intense.
Pappas and Serra, both longtime poker dealers, turning the tables on the other side of the felt.
Luis Bellador raised with king, queen of spades. Action on Tom with queen 9 in the small blind. He's going to get back on the horse again and take on Bellador. He calls. Politano folds his big blind.
Serra's itching to play pots. That's not a great itch to scratch.
All right, heads up. Here is the flop. Deuce 10-7, both miss. King high best for Luis. Serra checks. Bellador, 4 purples is 400,000. 4 purples is
400,000.
Yep.
He likes checking in the dark.
Jack of spades, both are open-ended now. Luis with the higher end of the draws. Serra checked.
Checking in the dark is like agreeing to a blind date. Too much downside.
River card, 4 of diamonds, busted draws abound. King high is best. Serra checks.
Check.
And a check back. Showdown. There it is.
Nice hand.
Bellador winning that pot is like finding $20 in your pocket after you get your clothes out of the wash.
Bellador into 6th place. His biggest World Series cash came with his bracelet win back in 2008. Luis is the oldest player remaining in this field at 51 years of age. He's been playing poker a long time and looking for his 3rd World Series of Poker final table.
Luis plays a lot at the Commerce, and apparently his skills have rubbed off on one of his 5 kids. If Luis and Luis Jr. play at a final table together, they will officially become the Ken Griffey's of the poker world.
Luis Bellador looks out at Jack 4 and folds under the gun. Folded to Craig McCorkle. Jack 10, he wants to get involved. A raise to 500,000. Mark Newhouse, 2 red 6s.
What are you playing roughly?
About 7.
About 7?
Newhouse 0 for 17 at this World Series. No cashes all summer. Then rolls out of bed for the main event, and he's zeroing in on back-to-back November 9s.
It is the story of this main event, and he just calls Serra Jr. now. Jack Trey.
Rags. But that's not the pose of a man who's going to fold.
You're right.
Selectively aggressive. Here comes Tom Serra Jr. again.
Wow, he's not selectively aggressive. He's playing every hand. Base chips in hand. A re-raise to $2,750,000, Norman.
Well, as I was saying to Jeff Lissandro, after re-raising him at the World Series 10K Stud A Championship this summer en route to my 10th place finish, I didn't come to stay, punk. I came to play.
Felix Stevenson gives up a suited ace. McCorkle folds. Newhouse folds a pocket pair, and Tom's looking like anything but a first-timer.
They don't have the stomach for Tom Serra Jr.
Tom Serra Jr. said he's dug in, and if dug in means re-raising with Jack Trey, yeah, we consider him dug in. The 2014 World Series of Poker is presented by Gentleman Jack Tennessee Whiskey, the Order of Gentlemen. And in part by the World Series of Poker Circuit Tour. Looking for live tournament action in a market near you? Check out the new schedule at WSOP.com. Back on day 4, the Amazon room was full. Now just 2 tables are left. 15 players remain. The last stages of this battle for a seat at the final table.
And Mark Newhouse is still here. How deep is the LA River this time of year?
Not much there. Newhouse with Jack 10, early position, a raise to $500,000. Serra with King Queen off comes along. Brazilian Bruno Politano with pocket 5s.
He's been getting some words of wisdom from his friend, fellow Brazilian Ariel Celestino, who cashed 6 times at this World Series, including 255th at this main event.
Bruno would be a good side action competitor with that chip riffle. And he is just going to call for 500 with a pocket pair. Max Senft now on the button. Queen of clubs, Jack of diamonds.
He has a bachelor's degree in economics. He's getting a second bachelor's in TV and film producing. And if they had a bachelor's program for folding your way to the final table, he'd have a third one.
In the small blind, Stevenson ace, king of spades.
By the way, the Stud 8 10K championship I've been mentioning was won by the fabulous George Danzer, who's in the running for World Series Player of the Year.
Where'd you finish in that?
10th!
Yeah, I thought so.
Thank you.
All right, Stevenson taking his time here with ace, king of spades. There is a re-raise to $2.25 million. Velador gives up his big blind.
See you, Mark.
Newhouse as well. You're right. Serra now with king, queen.
See you, Tom. Actually, this does not look like the pose of someone who's folding.
I told you he can't hear us.
Well, this is not a good spot for Tom Serra Jr. to get out of line.
Tom Serra Jr. is looking like he wants to get out of line. Wow, a re-raise to $6.7 million, and that sheds Politano.
I don't think Tom has selected the best time to be aggressive.
Stevenson now. Has Serra Jr. dominated.
How much you got behind?
6.7.
Is that like 2?
Dominated and covered.
There's one over here in green. 1.5. A little over 4.
A look back.
I'm all in.
He puts Serra all in.
Now Serra caught between a rock and a hard hand of love.
Call.
He calls with king, queen, and will be dominated by Stevenson.
Monster misstep.
Nice hand.
The incredulous looks on the other players' faces tells a story.
Yeah, I know. It's a spew. Spew. We'll see.
Stevenson in great shape to pick up this $25 million chip pot.
We've seen Tom's gutsy plays. This is an unfortunate read.
What are you gonna do, man? I'm just a rookie.
Serra began this hand with almost 50 big blinds, all his chips in the middle with king, queen off.
Terrible.
Serra at risk. Here is the flop. An ace for Stevenson, and his flush draw steals outs from Tom.
It's all but over for Tom Serra Jr. He'd need 2 perfect running cards to stay alive.
No, it's not. Still out. No.
Tom, a good sportsman, no matter the situation. The turn card, the 7 of hearts, that will end Tom Serra Jr.'s very impressive main event journey.
Good playing, good playing.
Going out with a smile on his face, done in by Felix Stevenson.
Good game, good game. Use them chips wise. Good, man. Good playing, man.
Almost 442 grand coming home to Girard, Ohio.
The fabulous run for the first timer ends in the blink of an eye.
Almost a double up for Stevenson, who is now a huge force to deal with in this main event.
We're happy with the flop.
Time now for the DraftKings.com King of the Night. It goes to poker's King Felix. Felix Stevenson. He recovered very nicely from a great Bruno Politano bluff, currently in second place.
This man's a pot limit Omaha cash game online specialist. How'd he get so good at Hold'em?
Jorrit van Hof is the chip leader with Stevenson right behind him in second place. Mark Newhouse has gained ground, now up to sixth.
Newhouse edging closer to history. Yes, I am a believer, Lon.
Tonight, it became clear that one wrong call or one extra dose of aggression can cost you your main event life.
Yeah, I know. It's a spew. I think the pressure caught up with me a little bit, playing with all the big dogs. What are you going to do, man? I'm just a rookie. So I think I surpassed, you know, all of my expectations.
Tom Serra Jr.'s elimination leaves Billy Pappas as the torchbearer for the first-timers. 14 are left. 9 make the final table. For Norman, Chad, and Kara Scott, I'm Lon McCarran. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.